Good evening, everyone. I'm very sorry I can't be with you this evening, but I'd like to thank you, Hank, and Wendy, and Congressman Archer, and everyone in the International Conservation Caucus for giving me this very special honour of the award tonight. And I'm speaking to you from the holy city of Jerusalem in the Holy Land, and this is a small piece of territory, but a problem that is immense in the eyes of the world. But tonight I'd like to talk to you very briefly about a problem that affects the whole of the planet, that affects every part of our territory and every part of the development of our society. Essentially, we have a very simple choice in the generations to come. We either make sure that we conserve our planet, that we act responsibly towards it, that we ensure that the development that we have is sustainable, or we face increasing degradation, increasing loss for some of the poorest countries in the world, and a situation in which we end up fighting over resources rather than conserving them and sharing them equitably. So conservation to me is about several things. First of all, it's about allowing some of the poorest countries in the world to develop in a way and grow in a way that protects the environment and makes sure that they are sustaining and nurturing that environment even as they deliver the jobs and prosperity that their people want. And I'm particularly delighted in this connection to know that the President of Tanzania and the President of Botswana are with you this evening, because they are two individuals and two countries that I think have in part shown the way for other African countries in how economic growth can go hand in hand with responsible stewardship of the environment. The second thing, however, that is important is that not just for the poorest countries in the world, but for all of us, as we increase the amount of economic growth and as we try and make sure that the fruits of the prosperity that there is in the world are shared between all the people of the world, so there is going to come an ever greater pressure on us to make sure that in respect of water and land, in respect of course of the climate, that we just don't simply believe that our right is to grow, but also that our duty is to grow in a way that is sustainable for the long term. And this is something I've tried to work on as Prime Minister of Great Britain over the 10 years that I occupied that office, but also subsequent to that in the work that I'm doing now. Because I believe it is only if the world recognises the interdependence today, the need to treat ourselves as members of a global community that aren't just responsible for our individual countries, but owe some sense of obligation to each other, that we are going to be able to fulfil that duty to grow sustainably, to bring our people prosperity, bring prosperity for this generation in a way that does not damage future generations. So this issue was one that I put right at the forefront of the G8 agenda back in 2005. It's something that I think is now going to dominate the international meetings in the years to come, but it's going to be absolutely vital that we make sure that the wealthy countries of the world join hands with those that are developing in order to make sure that we have a global framework that is for conservation, protection of the environment, at the same time as economic growth. I believe it is possible to do. In politics, I've always been an optimist. Actually, sitting here in Jerusalem in the Holy Land, you have to be an optimist if you want things to happen. But I believe it is also possible for us to take on this challenge, to meet it and to beat it. But we're not going to do that unless we work and we act together. So I'd like to thank you all very sincerely for the honour and privilege of this award, and in accepting it I would like to rededicate myself and the work that I do to making sure that the planet that we live on is kept and sustained and nurtured for our children and for the children of generations to come. Thank you all very, very much indeed. As I say, I'm really sorry I can't be with you this evening in person, but that in no way diminishes my sense of honour in receiving this award. Thank you.